Welcome back to TalkBack. We are talking to the Minister of Information and Broadcast, Qamar Zaman Kaira. Finally, figuring out what went right and what went wrong with the elections. A lot went right, despite harsh weather conditions. People braved nature and went on and voted in good numbers and large numbers. But what I have here are two reports, one from the HRCP, the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, and one from FAFN, the Free and Fair Election Network. And both of them effectively, Minister, they're pretty long. Don't want to take up too much of your time here, but both of them effectively say the same thing. They go on to say that there are certain issues, not rigging, but irregularities. The FAFN and the HRCP report say financial incentives were on the books. Financial incentives were offered by the mention of the Benazir Income Support Program, the Benazir Tractor Scheme, etc. They also go on to say that the governor campaigned for the party. He's supposed to be a neutral player. He campaigned. They go on to cite the PM's appeal. The PM visited a couple of days before the elections, and he appealed directly, and that is technically not allowed. Some fuzzy math on numbers, for example, they cite a very interesting statistic here, and you should take a note of this. They're saying that almost in areas like, for example, Diamer, Gilgit, and Skardu, the number of voter registration put out by the Election Commission was almost equal to the number of total population. For example, in GBLA 1, which is Gilgit, the population was cited at 56,641, and the Election Commission rolls had voters, registered voters, at 48,574, which effectively makes over 80% of that district voters, which is a demographic anomaly because most of the country is children, most of the country is not adults. They go on to make various other allegations. Inadequate security, and because of that violence. Sudden death ending. People voting stopped. People were told to leave. They've cited this. Delayed starts. No women police officers, which slowed things down for women who were voting. The list goes on and on.
As far as it's a huge list, and of course, there's no state intervention over there. Yes, we had a very little time because of the harsh weather. When we introduced the new system over there, we had very small time. In just 21 days, we prepared electoral rolls. As far as
Minister, with all due respect, that's fine. You're admitting it. I'm glad you're being honest that it was a very short time, yes, because otherwise people wouldn't have been able to vote.
And then because of the weather, we would have been delaying the election.
But Minister, then what is? Do you question your opponents when they criticize the outcome of the elections?
No. Let me give the answer of this observation. Financial resources offered or incentives offered, like Benazir card and Benazir tractor.
Yeah.
When we gave Benazir card to hold the country, yes, of course, Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir was part of that. 50,000 families or farms were distributed in that area in February. And the last date for that, for resubmitting the form, was 30th April. After 30th April 2009, if a single form is entertained, a single form from Gilgit-Baltistan is entertained, that is my responsibility. I'll be the first to have any sort of punishment. I am saying this with responsibility. I stated it on the floor of the House, and now I'm stating over here.
Okay, then Minister,
after 30th April.
Well, Minister, the FAFN report, the Free and Fair Election Network report, they said that thousands of these forms you're mentioning were found circulating, I'm quoting, were found circulating in Gilgit-Baltistan during the election campaign.
I am saying this. Please let FAFN people come over here, HRCP people come over here. I will take them to the Benazir Income Support Program's office. They can have a data with them.
Okay.
I cannot maneuver that whole data for just 500 or 1,000 forms, which is computerized data. After 30th April 2009, if a single form is entertained, I will be responsible personally, not my party. I will be responsible.
What about the PM's appeal?
Let me.
What about 10 ministers, over 10 ministers coming from Islamabad and campaigning there?
Okay. As far as PM's visit is concerned, there were 4 ministers over there. 4 ministers over there, not 10 ministers.
That's what they cite.
Oh, this is, if they can mention the names, I can mention the name. Nothing wrong. And I was the 5th. I was minister as well, but there was an allegation on me with why I am sitting over there. There was allegation on me that I am sitting in Gilgit and I am managing the election, and I am sitting in that city of Gilgit and I lost both the seats. My party lost both the seats.
Let's go back. You've defended the elections, you've trashed the report, you don't agree with it, even though, by the way, this is, FAFN is an organization.
I respect FAFN.
30 civil society organizations, Minister, working to foster democratic accountability in Pakistan. These are journalists, these are people who volunteers.
I don't blame and I don't trash them. As I am saying, yes, there were some procedural problems, but because of the shortage of time, we went through very fastly, yes. First time, we conducted election under judiciary. First time.
Okay.
An independent election commission. And even then, if there were some flaws, that was not a special spirit, or that was not intention. That maybe in some areas the election process may have started late.
Okay.
That may have...
Fair enough, Minister. You made your point. Finally, going back to the legislative process, though, the beginning of the legislative process, it's also been said that the government held just a few closed-door meetings for the parliamentary committee concerned, and a few selected leaders from the northern areas came in. Representatives of Azad Kashmir were not included. The Ep3, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference, was not included. When this entire legislative process, this entire ordinance was being planned, it was not, and this is an editorial in the news, it was not made very public. It was not democratic enough.
As far as the legislation for the FATA, FANA and these areas is concerned, these are directly controlled by, these are not constitutional. As far as FATA is concerned, that is constitutional part of Pakistan, but that is directly controlled by or administered by the President of Pakistan. They have the representation in the National Assembly, but even then, they don't have the representation in the Provincial Assembly. Over there in Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir, these are not part of Pakistan. Constitutionally, this is not part of Pakistan.
Right.
And these are not controlled or legislated by the Assembly.
Right.
Their legislation is done by the President of Pakistan.
I understand that, Minister. I'm familiar with the Constitution. I'm saying, was the APHC and was the Azad Kashmir a parliament?
APHC, of course, APHC at the